here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
Giggles now.
So we are now live on YouTube. If anybody's watching us, welcome back to fantaCTE. Nick Masick. On the upper side, we've got Lonnie Cox, and the bottom we've got Vital DeJuice. Thank you guys for watching if you are watching, or listening if you're listening. We certainly appreciate you guys, and we're gonna get you ready for the championship week. But first, let's talk about some news. We discussed this maybe last week or the week before. Dwayne Haskins. Did you guys hear about this?
Did.
No.
Signed with the Steelers. The Steelers signed Dwayne Haskins.
Yep.
I'm sure it's not like, I didn't look at the details of the contract. I'm sure there's like nothing guaranteed whatsoever.
Of course not. No.
But what do you think about that signing?
I don't hate it. It's all upside, right? They lose absolutely nothing.
Right.
To bring him into the room, see how he gets. If anybody can get Dwayne Haskins on the ship, it's probably them. It's probably a team like maybe New England, some team with a very strict like discipline system.
Yep.
Which apparently, I don't know, I've been hearing some rumors that that's not necessarily the case with Pittsburgh anymore. But
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's the opposite environment for him, because
right.
I think they kind of let people go. They keep it on the DL. That's what it looks. So it's like it doesn't seem loud, but he's gonna be able to do what he does, which isn't gonna be good.
But I mean, he's got a great receiving core. They need to protect him, and they also need to. Like James Conner needs to show up a little bit more than he did this year, but it's a great team. I mean, it could be a good pickup, but probably won't end up being much, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All upside.
I think I agree with you. And I had the same reaction initially, because you think of Mike Tomlin as a no-nonsense coach. But like you said, that there is a fair bit of nonsense coming out of Pittsburgh lately. So, yeah, I don't know. The receiving core, you're right, is great. But they're also a bunch of young guys. If he gels with them as a young group, could be great. Alex Smith was on record saying that he just thought he had, the world was his oyster as far as talent was concerned. He said, and Alex Smith, I believe, is probably at this point a very good, accurate gauge of talent, of other quarterbacks' talent. So, because he's been around.
But I think everyone says that his coaches didn't have like a bad thing to say about like his performance. It's all his attitude and his work ethic.
Which is like, he won the starting job.
It's going to be changed.
Right. Like we said, he won the starter job. Yeah. So I think part of it really depends on how Roethlisberger, like what he decides to do, if he stays, if he goes.
I don't think it's not up to him. It's up to the Steelers. They're going to cut him for sure.
Oh, they're going to cut him.
Yeah, man, he's done. I think why would you keep him?
They apparently, if he stays on the roster, they owe him $49 million, something like that. But if they cut him, they only have to pay 21. They're cutting him. It's a done deal.
But they need a better QB. They
Yeah.
still need a much that's why I thought, is it Dwayne Haskins? Maybe if it's for their competition for whatever QB they really get, just to run them. But if that's their plan going forward, I don't know.
Well, I mean, they could very reasonably kind of do a rebuild for a couple of years, because the defense was not strong this year. I mean, their defense was strong, but they just kind of didn't. Their offense they just had holes. They had a bunch of holes on their team, and we saw that in the playoffs. It's hard to say their offense wasn't good or their defense wasn't good, because that's not really true.
They are a good team, and if they plug a couple of holes, like you're saying, they'll get there. So maybe if they do take this season off, kind of, which I hate tanking, but they'll probably do it and get a good pick, and then just keep Dwayne Haskins and just drive the fucking boat for a year.
See what he's got. I think it could.
This is also probably the best quarterback talent draft you've seen in the last, maybe since the RG3 Andrew Luck, Kirk Cousins draft. But even then, I think you're probably seeing better talent across the board. So they could potentially pick up somebody now.
You're saying this quarterback draft? Well,
but I don't think they have a good pick position.
They don't have a good pick position.
But what I'm saying is like they're projecting that you could possibly see 4 quarterbacks go in the first round this year.
Right.
So you could have a Mac Jones available at 22 or whatever.
No,
that
absolutely.
spot
If
is.
it's that high, then there's going to be good sleepers. Just
That's
a
what I'm
lot
saying.
of
You
them, for sure.
got Kyle Trask entering the draft this year, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, the guy from BYU, Justin Field. I mean, you have the top end, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Field, but at the bottom, you never know, man. Like those guys in the second, third round, that's where Pat Mahomes.
I think those are
came from,
usually the
Dak
better
Prescott.
quarterbacks. How many number one
Mahomes
drafted
was 10.
quarterbacks are like great?
But Mahomes was 10th overall.
He was. I thought he was second. I thought he was in the second round.
No, he was.
He was okay. I must be confusing him with somebody else.
No.
But I know there was somebody else in the second round.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Right. You're right.
Dak was like the 4th round.
Zach was in the 4th round, right?
Yeah. So there are definitely there are players
Mm-hmm.
who could very well come up. You're right. I still like the Haskins signing though. I think it's like you said, it's all upside, and if his upside is really as high as they say it is, it could be really stellar. And they're used to protecting an immobile quarterback. That's the other thing. You're saying they got to protect him, but they're used to Roethlisberger back there, so he's not that mobile. Who cares? That's kind
the
of
problem with Roethlisberger. It's not that he's not fast, but he is the hardest quarterback to tackle. Like a lot of defenders will say that like he's the hardest quarterback to get on the ground in the NFL.
I don't think he was the last couple of years.
No. But in his prime, my dad used to say he could write a book back there with all the time that he would have to like throw the ball. You know,
I remember teams saying they coached their players. Maybe it was even a Patriots thing that they coached their defensive players to tackle the football, not tackle Roethlisberger.
Right.
Because if you're tackling him, he can still throw the football. So they would they wouldn't even look at his body. They would just tackle his football and the arm.
That's probably the best thing you could do. Why waste your time? Like, seriously, it's embarrassing when a QB gets off while you're holding his legs. Like that was crazy.
I saw the Steelers doing their quarterback drills one time, and the coaches were like whacking them with pads, like those big pads, and they're like whacking the quarterback. And I forget who it was, the black bald kid. Josh Dobbs, somebody like that. And he was really in the drill, like trying not to get hit. And Roethlisberger is just kind of like this, like.
I think I remember that video now. Like he didn't bother at all. He took all the hits and then threw it.
Yeah.
And the other quarterbacks were like super into it, and he was like, "Nah, whatever, bro. I'll just stay here." There's also something. Dwayne Haskins went to Ohio State, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You're our college.
I think he was Ohio State.
Okay.
So I think he was Ohio State. There is something to him going back to what I consider the Pittsburgh Steelers to be a Big Ten team. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why, but in my mind, if they were a college football team, they're in the Big Ten.
Absolutely.
Like,
I see that.
Heavy hit, they're heavy hitting. The linebacking core is strong.
Yep.
And I don't know why, but it seems to me that when you can find guys that are used to that style of football to come into the NFL, they always seem to do a little bit better when they're in a system that they're kind of like not a system necessarily, but a culture that they're familiar with.
It's a great way.
That makes sense, especially if they had success in that culture before. They just got right into it,
which he did. Pittsburgh's also. I mean, I'm sure you can get into plenty of trouble in Pittsburgh, but it's a little bit more of a small market. It's not as big and I mean,
I doubt the nightclub scene in Pittsburgh is really that enticing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're going to get that much trouble in Pittsburgh.
Yes, exactly.
It's not Washington, D.C. or Miami.
Yeah.
Or Chicago,
how close is there a party city next to Pittsburgh? Because Haskins will get
I think Cleveland is close, and Philly is like
I said a party
3.5 hours away. But
there's nothing close to Pittsburgh. Like there's really nothing there.
Cincinnati, I heard, is lit this time of year. So
there actually are a few cool places I've been to in Cincinnati.
But I mean, I'm sure there's cool places
there's
everywhere.
always cool places, but but
if you're an NFL player, like, you know what I mean, it's a little bit.
It's not Vegas.
2020 club live.
You're not looking for like barbecue and like the best mac and cheese in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that actually could translate well with the fun young receiver core. Like if I could just see them being a bunch of young dudes who are all super talented, but like hanging out together, like playing video games. Like if he can get in that kind of a social situation with his teammates, that could be very healthy and good. Great place for him to develop, especially because they're all just loaded with talent. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. Then of course the next thing, the biggest news that's outside of the actual games is still Deshaun Watson. What have you guys heard about the most recent trade?
No, I haven't heard anything since we spoke last.
So one of the things that I read was that if Houston wants to salvage the relationship with Deshaun Watson, that they basically have to hire Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, which is he's the OC with the Chiefs. And I could see that happening. I think that is plausible. Like if they make that hire, that coaching hire, I think I could see Watson staying. It did make sense when they said that. That's what he wants, change. He wants to see commitment to change and change in the right direction. So if that's something he is on board with, maybe we see that get worked out. But if the trade happens, the teams they're talking about right now are the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Panthers. Panthers were a new one. We talked about the Dolphins possibility, and the Jets, I believe we've talked about that as a possibility. But the Panthers is really interesting. Now, one of the things they mentioned was that good teams are more willing to trade away high draft picks, like first rounders, because the first rounder to, they mentioned the Seahawks and the Rams and some of the big defensive trades. Those aren't really that valuable as far as the picks are concerned. They're more interested in bringing in a good player than they are in a 20th pick or whatever they get. Right. But you start talking about the Panthers, they didn't have a good record. They're going to have a pretty high draft pick. And then they also brought Christian McCaffrey into this conversation. So let me put this to you. Would you trade McCaffrey and Teddy Bridgewater for Deshaun Watson if you're Carolina? Would you trade both of them away for Deshaun Watson?
I'd have the conversation for sure.
You have the conversation. Okay.
We talk a lot about, okay, let's talk about Christian McCaffrey. Let's talk about Teddy Bridgewater. First of all, I love Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, he's good.
Is he Deshaun Watson? Absolutely not. Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater is, he's on the down end of his career, which is terribly unfortunate. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I've been a fan of his since high school. You know what I mean? Like I love Teddy Bridgewater. Of course, you always would trade up for Deshaun Watson.
Of course.
Christian McCaffrey.
Quarterback.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Is Christian McCaffrey one of the best players in the NFL? Without a question, without a doubt. Is he going to stay one of the best players in the NFL? I don't know. I don't know what his longevity is like. We talked a lot, last week about joints and like health. When I see Christian McCaffrey, I'm always like, every kind of time he takes a big hit. He is very smart about his body angle. He's not Alvin Kamara, but he's very smart about taking big shots, getting out of field. He doesn't take big contact, which is really, if you look at a guy like Frank Gore, that's how Frank Gore is able to stay in the league for 18 years because he doesn't take the big shots. Yep. Christian McCaffrey's already been hurt. I don't know, man. I don't know. Is Christian McCaffrey going to give you 12 more years in the NFL, whereas Deshaun Watson could theoretically be the guy for a decade?
Yeah.
I take Deshaun, man. I do.
I was initially saying no, but something else I thought about beyond, is McCaffrey that good? I think his points are position and offense dependent because Mike Davis came in and did almost just as good. It wasn't like a huge drop off.
Well,
so to say that McCaffrey can go, you can get Watson and your system's still intact. Yes. And they have McCaffrey B, like just a little lower, like that's still a good running back.
And then, one thing also to consider is let's think about the best running backs in the NFL. Their dominance, their reign at the top is maybe 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe
that's it.
2 to 3 years. And then we're talking about some other guy, talking about somebody else. Yeah. Quarterbacks, it's a generational thing.
Yep.
I mean, I remember Aaron Rodgers' first game in the NFL. He came in against the Dallas Cowboys, and they were like, this guy's not going to be that great. And I'm like, this guy is going to be a problem. That was in 2007. I think Brett Favre got hurt.
Yeah.
And then, that was 14 years ago.
13 years, I think.
Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, those guys are there for a long time. In my opinion, you take the quarterback over the running back, for sure.
Yeah.
I have to say I agree.
But do you think that's attractive to Watson? Do you think they have an
Carolina?
actual chance in the like? How far do the Panthers get with Watson?
If they don't add anything else, I think they're I think they're a little better. I don't know if they're a playoff team. I think they're a little better this if you change nothing besides those players. Now it's hard to say because McCaffrey didn't play this year, and the Panthers were better when he was playing. So it's a tough to call. McCaffrey was dominant 2 years.
I mean, the year that Cam and McCaffrey were together, the Panthers were pretty good. They didn't make the playoffs, I don't think.
No, but they were really good.
They were really on the cusp.
And McCaffrey was still developing too. He wasn't as good with the year with Cam as he was last year.
Right.
I think. When he didn't really have a whole lot of good quarterback play.
Who was the quarterback last year for the Panthers?
Kyle Allen, maybe.
Right. That's who it was.
So McCaffrey's even like he was playing at an MVP level without decent quarterback play. We don't actually know how good he theoretically could be with a good quarterback play consistent.
My problem with the Panthers isn't necessarily the quarterback running back dynamic. It's literally everything else. It's like, who do they have at line? I mean, they have like one pretty good linebacker, but on defense, I mean, the Panthers historically have been the defense of the East. You know what I mean? So right now, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. They have Shaq Quarterman.
I think they look a lot like the Texans last year. If you do that, they do. They just have so many other. I think they look good on offense. I think the receiver
they have a lot of weapons.
The Panthers receivers maybe are better than the Texans receivers even.
For sure they are.
Well,
DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. I mean, they're better than.
Assuming Will Fuller comes back and plays well, then it's more comparable. I'm saying because Will Fuller was on an incredible year, but he was also on steroids, so we don't really know.
Right? Yeah, and who knows what else? But I think you've got. I think I would take DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson over Will Fuller and QT. Right? That's the.
Don't forget about Brandon Cooks and Curtis Samuel, though.
Brandon Cooks.
When he got,
they do have a good core. Yeah,
I forgot about Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. He lit it up once he got healthy, which was like week 4 or 5. He started, torching teams again with Watson. So I think they're comparable in terms of receiving cores. But you're right. I just don't see. I think both teams still have holes, so they're probably another 5-win team, maybe 6 wins with Watson. But
that's a lot in the NFL. 6 more wins. It seems.
No. I mean total. I think.
No.
Dog, come on.
Sean Watson's going to get them to 8-8 at least.
Yeah.
Really, you think he didn't get Houston to 8-8 this year?
Houston is a dumpster fire that nobody wants to play for it, bro.
Yeah, there's something going on there because I heard JJ Watt's talking about leaving too, dude. Like, there's something going on there.
Dude, no player in the NFL. I guarantee you. Nobody in the NFL wants to play in Houston. Like, there are other teams that have terrible reputations, but I guarantee you people would rather play for the Jets than play for the Texans. I bet my life on it.
I mean, it depends. Well, people want to play for the Jets now because of Robert Saleh. They made their coaching hire, and people are on board with their coaching hire. The Texans still haven't addressed their head coaching issue yet.
Right.
Robert Saleh we talked about him last. He's beloved by players. Everybody wants to play for him. So immediately that hire changed the perception, the league-wide perception, I would say, by players when they look at the Jets. Now they went from a team like nobody wants to play for to a team that a lot of guys probably really want to play for. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting look, and it's a very real possibility. We could see him at the Panthers. The nice thing about if you do trade McCaffrey for him, but you don't trade any high draft picks, is that you have a first-round draft pick to address some of those issues, potentially one of those issues. Mm-hmm. Theoretically defense probably. So, but I still don't see Watson having a really great winning season if he goes to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Deshaun,
I don't think that's
listening to this, and I'm sure you are, come to Miami. It's the best possible situation for you right now.
It really is.
You guys agree? I think Miami would be the best landing spot for him.
Yeah. Miami or New York. I actually like both. I do because like you were saying, the Jets are good. They have a lot of weapons, and I think they're in a very similar position to where Miami was last year. A new coach, and they're really exciting. And I like Miami, but I don't think they're gonna pull on the Tua trade. I don't think they're gonna.
No, I don't think that. I don't think it's
really
gonna happen.
Attached to him. I love him, but I would have done the trade, but I don't think Miami is.
one of these things is probably going to happen. That's the reality of the situation. We're not talking about just purely hypotheticals. If Deshaun Watson wants out, he's probably going to go to one of those three teams, is what they're saying. There's always a sleeper, a dark horse team that can slide in and make an offer. Who knows? But right now,
Indianapolis, they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just lost Rivers.
That would be nasty.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson with that defense.
Why don't they go for it?
It might be. They might. Well, they don't want to play against them is the problem.
Yeah. And they just do. I mean, I don't know what the Colts cap situation is because his contract is massive.
Yeah.
And it should be, that's what it should be. I just don't know that the Colts have the cap space to make it work. And that's why I think those other teams were in play, because they have cap space. So they'd have to be very creative. I don't even know if it's feasible for the Colts, much less, what they're going to offer for him in return. Because if you're looking at your roster, you're going to weaken your team dramatically. And if you're looking at your draft picks,
I think they can give up a draft pick and like one of those backs. Because either one, I think, is doing really, because they have 3 backs that are really good.
Yeah, but they're talking about, teams are talking about wanting 2 first-round picks for Watson.
Yeah, but that's all. I knew the Dolphins were out when they said that.
Yeah. I mean, they do. They may have some. Yes, they do have some assets. They have a lot of assets at running back. That's for sure. I mean, you throw Jonathan Taylor into that mix. Jonathan Taylor might have more trade value right now than Christian McCaffrey. That's a really good.
Yeah, dude. He's gonna come. He's gonna even be better in the next 2-3 seasons. It's only plus side.
It definitely should be. You're right. After this run, he could be a. I think it has more to do with the cap space, though, with Indianapolis. I don't think they have the room for his contract. So, but we'll find out. It's going to be. They're saying it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, they're saying it makes the most sense for it to happen before free agency, which is in mid-March. Mm-hmm. So we could see some movement on this pretty soon. So we might have to. And we should definitely do a free agency extravaganza podcast. That'll probably be the first thing we do after the Super Bowl. All right. So those are some interesting stuff to watch and look for. Good things. How about reactions to last week's games? Did you guys watch all of the games? Let's talk about the Bills first. Bills beat the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Who did you guys pick? I know one of you guys picked.
Oh, I picked the Ravens. Right?
You did pick the Ravens.
I picked the Bills.
You picked the Bills, Lonnie. Yeah.
That was a hard one to pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was pretty close. If I remember correctly, it was pretty close until
the defensive touchdown by the Bills.
Right. And then Lamar got hurt, and then that was it.
Yeah, as soon as it was out, it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of done before that. You knew that Lamar really needed to do some superhero shit to win in the playoffs, which that's the time.
That's where it happened.
You need to do it now. Now's the time when you're going to show what you're made of. Pat Mahomes. That's why Pat Mahomes is worth $500 million, is because he does that.
He does stuff, regularly. And
in the playoff. I mean, when it counts, he shows up. Big time players, big time plays, big time moments. You know what I mean? So, it's been a disappointing year for Lamar for sure. They're also not helping him out that much. They do have a good defense and stuff like that, but the Bills, man, the Bills are an exciting team. I'm very excited for that game.
That was mostly what I was taking away from that, was not that the Ravens weren't that good or that Lamar didn't. I was just like, wow, the Bills are such a complete team.
So good.
Our top to bottom, front to back, their special teams is great. Their defense is great. Their receivers are great.
Who did they play in the middle of the season? And they were doing really well. Then they played that team and they really didn't show up. Was it the Chiefs?
I don't know if that was the game.
I know what you're talking about, because they had a 2-game slump and everyone was off of them, and then they came right back.
But that's the impressive. That's why I wanted to talk about it, is because some teams don't come back from that. Some teams, they're like the Seahawks. The Seahawks, they were doing really well, and then they fell. They've been doing that the last couple of years, actually.
Yeah. But the Seahawks defense isn't even close to the Bills.
I was talking to my buddy, and my buddy is a football guy, and I was talking about the Seahawks. And I was like, yeah, dude, their defense was one of the worst defenses in the league this year. And he's like, no, they weren't. They have all these all-pros back there. And I'm like, they were 30th in the league.
Yeah. They were better towards the end of the season than they were in the beginning. Obviously, Jamal Adams is going to do that for you.
Yeah.
He started playing well, but they still were not good. Their overall rank was not I don't think where they were at the end of the season getting into the playoffs wasn't quite as bad as 30th, really, but they were not good. And
No, they were not
The
good.
Bills' defense is awesome. Like they're
So
In
good.
case you were wondering, the game that everyone turned them off about, it's because they lost 42-16 to the Titans.
The Titans, that's right.
Yeah.
It was like Thursday night
That
or
was a
something
big
like
one.
that.
Yep. And the Titans are a really strong team, though. So
Yeah.
it's,
It looked worse on paper than it was.
you got ran on,
Yeah, sometimes the team is just really, really good at what you're really bad at. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just you lose that matchup.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're actually pretty lucky they didn't have to play the Titans. I think the Titans would have given them a tougher
For
game
sure.
than the
The
Ravens.
Titans are a good team. No matter what their record is, I feel like they only ever lose by this much. They're a lot like Atlanta, but they don't do it to themselves.
Also, did you guys see, I don't know if you saw this, but A.J. Brown, immediately as the season ended, he had double knee surgery.
Oh, God. Wow.
So
So
he was
he's had
playing-
bad knees this season.
Dude, they said that he released a tweet, said that they told him to stop playing on week 2, and then he ended up making the Pro Bowl.
Jeez.
I
That
don't like
to
that,
me
because he
is
could have
just like,
saved him.
I hope he didn't do any more damage,
I don't know. But the fact that guy can play at that level on those injuries just goes to show you the superhuman capabilities of NFL players. It's like, I sent you guys another that Michael Thomas had a torn ligaments and something else in his knee. And I'm like, dude, if that happened to any three of us, Vital, you were in the Army, probably one of the toughest guys I know. If that happened to you,
No,
you'd
I'm
be
not.
dead for 8 months. You would not move.
I agree with you. I'm not going to the bathroom, dude. I remember I once had a deep tissue bruise in my ankle and I couldn't ruck. That shit hurts, dude.
The worst.
These guys are also really young, too. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah, well.
They're freakishly athletic, and their bodies are just amazing. And A.J. Brown, what is he, 23?
Something like that.
You
guys saw that picture I sent, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf in college.
Oh, yeah.
Scary.
Wide receivers. Those guys look like defensive ends.
Yeah. I was going to say they would have been 20, 30 years ago. They would have.
Yeah, for sure. I was also talking to my buddy about that. We were talking about like guys now versus guys back then. So, the 72 Dolphins are praised as this like all-time great team. I think the Chiefs from last year would have beat them 70-0. Like every play to Tyreek Hill, that nobody's catching him on the fucking 72
But
Dolphins.
that's every sport, dude. It
I was gonna
evolves so much. If Golden State played the Bulls, they would run it up on them by 30
You think
points.
so? I don't think so, dude.
They would spread the floor on them. Those big, tall
That's
guys,
true.
they would have them running.
I think so. You're probably right about that. But also the Bulls, if you gave that Bulls team time to adjust to that style of play, which they just weren't used to. So it's hard. It's harder with the NBA. With the NFL, I think sports science has played so much into the development of players. People, the way players take care of their bodies, the way they're training at an earlier age. And like, there's just so many elements to it. It's really hard to.
No, I agree. Like football lifestyle is like you're encompassed in the whole program. It is very similar to the Army. Like if you're a football player, you're in regiment. Like,
right. I mean, you can go the same route and say, what if Jim Brown had all of the benefits of sports science in our NFL today, as at whatever his base level was? How good would he have been?
Could you imagine Bo Jackson if they had just trained him up like genetics?
Bo Jackson was, oh god, he was too athletic for his body. Like he destroyed his own body by his.
Yeah, but if they kept him healthy, I can't wait for the HGH League. I want to see it one day, just to see, just one season. Let him go.
I'm all for it.
I mean, we did see that. It was called the 90s, and that was all sports.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm all for it. I think we should.
I mean, that's how Mark McGuire shot balls into the fucking water. Like we saw it. That was sports for a long time.
All right, so let's get to the next game we didn't talk about. Probably not as much of a reaction, but the Packers and the Rams, kind of a ho-hum ordeal, pretty much what we all expected. Rams running game looked good. Cam Akers, great. But the Rams were banged up. Aaron Donald wasn't 100%. Jared Goff played well, even with his injured thumb.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't enough. And I think they'll be back strong next year as far as the Rams are concerned. I think they'll be they'll be a tough team to beat again if they come back healthy.
The Rams to me are the least exciting good team in the NFL. Like, I don't care about them at all, and I want them to go away.
I disagree. I love Aaron Donald. I think he's super
fun.
I
love him. I just want him to play
Aaron
for the Cowboys.
Donald, and they have that Coop Cup, right? That boy's good.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp.
A good receiving
Cup, yeah, and Cooper Kupp was out of the game too. He didn't play, so like they were just so.
They have a lot of weapons, dude. They're going to be very good.
I like them. I think they're interesting. I disagree with you. I like mostly because of the defense. I really love Donald and I love Ramsey. I'm more excited about their defense than I am about their offense. That's
for sure. But I don't know. I love Aaron Donald. I was a fan of his in college when he played for Pittsburgh. But I mean, he's my favorite player probably that I've ever watched in the NFL. To like actually sit and watch him play is probably one of my favorite guys to ever watch. But I hate the Rams. I'm like, what? I hate Jared Goff. They like got rid of Todd Gurley, and now they're just like farting around. They got rid of Brandon Cooks.
Dude, Gurley lost his starting job in Atlanta by the end of the season. Like Gurley's washed. I mean, he's done.
But there you go. That's another example of a guy that was like the best running back in the NFL for 1 year, 2 years, and now out of the NFL.
But it's really hard for a running back to get established in another team, I've noticed. I don't know if it's something about like the offense or how they open gaps, but it's like they're a fish out of water every time. Like,
it's because once they've outlived their usefulness, teams cut them.
Like once you see a running back getting traded, it's not good for them. Like it's not a good, you know.
The only
it's always down. I don't know a good running back there after they were traded. Like Le'Veon Bell ain't Le'Veon Bell. Do you guys remember what he was like?
Yeah,
it's so hard to see him now. I'm just like, ugh.
So the only running back trade that I can remember being of note was Clinton Portis was in his prime when he got traded for Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
And Bailey's career was longer, but Portis was still really good.
So good.
I remember him he used to just level guys. When you would like have to chip an end, to help out, he would destroy defensive ends on his chip blocks. Like he was just such a monster.
Yeah.
So that was but that was like a blockbuster trade that you rarely ever see. And I forget why it happened. I think it was probably Champ Bailey wasn't happy or something like that. But yeah, no, you're right. Generally, when you see a running back get dealt or cut or whatever, they're done. They're on their way out. It just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
You keep
I think we're going to see that in the next season or two with Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh yeah. He's already
for sure.
Yeah. Or he'll just restructure a contract and take less money to stay in Dallas. I could see that happening too. He will become the complementary back to a Tony Pollard. He'll become what? No.
I'm ashamed. It sucks. Like I thought that team was legitimately going to win a Super Bowl at one point, and then here we go. Welcome to being a Cowboys fan.
Only Dallas fans thought that, though.
Bro, no. Come on. The best offensive line in football. Tony Romo, Dez Bryant, Jason Witten. You didn't think that team had a shot?
No.
Realistically.
I think
we almost beat the Packers.
Yeah,
almost on one play.
That was the year you should have won a Super Bowl.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the year. We were 14-2 or 13-3.
Who was it? Who was in the AFC game?
It was the Patriots that year.
It was the Patriots.
You weren't taking it anyway.
They could have beat the Patriots.
I mean, what I'm saying, I think we did beat them during the year. Is my point? No, we played the AFC North that year.
No,
but
it would have been a very evenly matched Super Bowl. It would have been close, I think, because that was the year the Patriots beat the Seahawks, but it was back and forth the whole game.
The Seahawks were a really
and
good
we had beaten the Seahawks.
They were coming off of there.
We had beat the Seahawks that year.
The Cowboys had beaten the Seahawks. I think the Cowboys would have gone to the Super Bowl and gave the Patriots a run I think it would have been one of the best Super Bowls. It was, but I think
that was one of the best Super Bowls, man.
It was one of
losing it. Yeah,
I loved that Super Bowl. It was amazing.
I hated it, but it was still awesome.
I hated it.
That was one of the only Super Bowls where both teams before the game were like, "This is our game plan. We're going to do this, 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 and this," and both teams did everything they said. Like the Seahawks picked off Brady. Brady threw a touchdown to Gronk. They used Edelman. They ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch. Russ threw deep balls. Like everything both teams said they were going to do, they did. It was amazing.
It was like exactly like a movie. Like the way you would want to draw up your season finale.
That was it. Yeah.
That last play.
You couldn't if you put that game and those highlights in a movie as a finale, it would have looked ridiculous. Like they were like, "Oh, this movie's
It's like there's too much back and forth. This is
It doesn't happen like that. It's like, are we watching the replacements? Like, what is this nonsense? You know, like it makes you feel good, but you also don't believe it would ever happen in your life. That was that game. All right, let's get to the more interesting games of last weekend. How about, speaking of which, Brady, how about Bucks Saints? You guys both picked the Saints. Here's what I think. Hold on. I get to go first on this one because I got it right.
Sure.
I think really the only difference in the game, the big difference was Brady can still throw the ball down the field and Breeze can't. And that was it. And the Bucks knew it going into that game. They realized that. And they just game planned, specifically for that. They jammed the receivers at the line. They loaded the box against Kamara. And they were just like daring Breeze to take a deep shot, which he can't do anymore. And Brady can.
And the Bucks defense is so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Underrated. As good as they are, they're still underrated. Yeah, they had a
Devin White is one of the best players in the NFL, but nobody talks about him.
Yeah, well, they were talking about him a little bit last week.
Yeah, I think he's now. He put a lot of people on notice.
Oh yeah. Well, with the way he played against, because you think about that matchup, it's basically him against Kamara, and
they said his name a lot, dude.
They said his name a lot. Kamara had a good game still because he's always going to have a good game, but he didn't have, 6 touchdowns. It was Devin White held Kamara as much in check as anyone can, and that was the game plan. I think they executed. So yeah, but Breeze is it was sad, honestly.
It was a little sad to watch.
Yeah. I was happy to see the Bucks win, but it was like, Breeze, you should have quit last year, kind of. It was one of those.
He had a good run. If he didn't get hurt in the middle of the season, I think he would have done better in the playoffs too. But
he couldn't. They've been, even last year, they were using Taysom Hill as a crutch, for Breeze not being able to throw the ball down the field, but it just got to the point where it became predictable. Like you knew if Hill was in there, when they put Jameis Winston in there, they should have known. That was like the one.
Yeah, true. Even Jameis Winston throwing the ball downfield, though.
I think they would have been better off with Winston in that game. Really.
To let it if it was, but they would have switched up the strategy. I'm guessing if it was Winston, because they were going to have to throw out.
It would have been harder to game plan against Winston than it was against Breeze. I know he can read defenses and everything, but his body just isn't there anymore. So it was a little bit sad to watch it happen. And it's what I expected to have happen though. So
all these QBs are done, man. Phillips, Rivers, it was that
except Brady, he's still there. He's still
that is crazy. Brady's there. Roethlisberger's about to be done.
Roethlisberger can still throw bombs, but he's kind of washed as the rest of it.
He can throw roofie bombs and right across the bar into girls' drinks. Take them into the bathroom. That's what he's.
I wouldn't forget that.
You forget that shit, huh?
Guys. I don't forget about that. I remind my cousins of that all the time.
Yeah.
He would be an interesting 1-year sub in Indianapolis. Actually, place you could, because if you wanted to play another year, they would probably give him a shot in that offense. They're used to having a statue at quarterback who can throw it downfield, and you can make the argument that he makes better decisions than Rivers. So
shoot, then you might get him on the Pats then.
Yeah. Oh God, that'd be awful. I don't want to root for Roethlisberger. I couldn't do it. They would never sign him. They wouldn't do that. All right, and then the last game, probably the most interesting game, was the Browns and the Chiefs, the one that nobody thought was going to be really competitive at all.
I think people thought it was going to be competitive. I think they thought the Chiefs would pull away closer, but it was.
Yeah, I think that was obviously it was the Mahomes injury, but the Browns, I really thought they were going to do it at one point. I thought they were going to come back.
No, we're good.
Yeah, I didn't expect Henne to play that well. That was the big surprise of that game. Chad Henne coming in.
I mean, he's still in the NFL for a reason, man.
Absolutely is. He showed it. He showed why. Yeah, I genuinely thought we were going to see a Browns-Bills AFC Championship game at one point there. So, moving on to the games that we are going to have, Patrick Mahomes is going to be playing. He cleared concussion protocol, which I think is great news. Nobody really wants him out for that game. You could almost hand it to the Bills if he's not playing, I think.
Sure.
I mean,
I don't know about that. I don't know if you hand it to the Bills. But definitely I do think there is some parts of the Chiefs offense that kind of runs itself with Tyreek Hill. As long as you can get them the ball,
Yeah.
they're gonna score you points. You know what I mean? But yeah, we would most likely be seeing the Bills. We still might see the Bills.
I agree. I think it's those improvisational plays that Mahomes is so good at.
Yeah.
That's the real difference. Because, yeah, there's some stuff. Henny can sit back in the pocket and throw balls. He's obviously still capable of doing that. And he's pretty athletic still. He showed in that run. But he's not the almost nobody can do the improv stuff that Mahomes is capable of. And that's what sets their team apart.
Yeah.
I agree, though. I think the Chiefs have to play not a perfect game, but a really, really good game to beat the Bills. They can't make many mistakes against that Bills team, I don't think.
No, they don't make a lot of mistakes usually, though. They're a very disciplined team. That's Andy Reid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm still taking the Chiefs in that game.
Yeah.
But I
think I have to give it to them too.
Yeah.
You agree with Tal? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
They still have a couple question marks. Like I don't know that they know who their running back's going to be. It's Edwards-Helaire is a possibility to play, but he's not definite. I think Bell is the same way. Sammy Watkins is questionable. So they aren't 100%, but their main guys are playing. And Darrell Williams at running back is good enough for that offense. Like he did a pretty decent job last week. Now here's the real tough one. Packers-Bucks. Tell me what you guys think. Vital does not want to pick the Bucks.
I'll say it because the yards are already out there. I'm gonna pick the Bucks to win just on what I'm seeing right now, man.
Yeah.
If they play like that and their defense plays like that, I think they have enough to beat the Packers. I want Rodgers to win. Like if it comes down to a Rodgers drive, I'm picking them. But if it's not that, I think they'll run away with it.
I don't think they'll run away with it. I don't think you're going to see the Bucks dominate the game like they did when they played the Packers the first time. I think Rodgers came out with an injury. He said he was hurt, right? He said something had happened to him during the game.
Yeah, he was banged up in that game.
Yeah, so basically the game is like if you're going to put the ball, we're going to force Aaron Rodgers to win the game. I like Aaron Rodgers to win that. You know what I mean?
Not a great strategy. You don't want.
No, it's not. So you've got the best quarterback and the best wide receiver in football against a very good defense, and the Packers defense. It's good. It's not. I wouldn't like.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're not. But I could easily see them flipping it, and the Packers winning 30-20 this week. I could easily see, some sort of situation like that too.
It's plausible.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Packers just because I think Rodgers and Adams and Aaron Jones, they'll probably be able to figure it out. I also trust I don't know, I just trust Rodgers. Rodgers wants to win. He really has a chip on his shoulder. So does Brady, of course. But I don't know. I think Rodgers is a little hungrier than Brady at this point in their career. I'm going to give it to Rodgers.
You know what? I actually think the opposite. For some reason, I think Rodgers is kind of content. The way Brady's has been playing, I feel like he's trying to prove something.
I do, but I also think that Rodgers wants another Super Bowl. He's come close so many times.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably his best team. This is probably one of the better teams that Rodgers has played with. The defense isn't great, but that offense is amazing.
Yep.
The Bakhtiari injury, is he back?
I don't know. I didn't see that on the injury report. I didn't check. That would make a difference.
It for sure will, but the game is going to be the Bucs defense versus Aaron Rodgers. That's the game to me.
Right. What's their game plan? How are they going to approach that? I think it's a similar game plan, honestly, to the I think obviously they're going to roll a lot of coverage towards Devontae Adams, but I think they're going to take Devin White and say, you stop Aaron Jones or whoever else is running the ball. They're your responsibility. And if he can manage to do that, then you can roll all kinds of coverage towards Adams.
But they still have a lot of good other receivers too. I think I've said it before.
Lazard is questionable. Lazard is dealing with an injury, and he has been. Yeah, he's so. They do have other receivers, but I think a lot of them are. I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling might even be questionable. So they're not 100% with their other guys at receiver. Bucs are in a similar situation in that Antonio Brown is not playing. So take away one deep threat. He's been playing really well from their offense.
Didn't Chris Godwin get a little hung up on one of those plays on a play in the? Am I misremembering that?
Maybe. No, I think Godwin and Evans were both questionable, but they're probably going to play. They think they're going to play, but those guys are not 100% either. They really haven't been all season. But AB is already designated out. He is out for sure.
And then also one thing that I'm very happy to see is Leonard Fournette looks like he's picking it up quite a bit too. So that's a great pickup for them. If now we're seeing a running back on another team. It's been taking him a long time to get going, but it seems like he's finally got some momentum going for him, which I'm happy to see. I like Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, me too. And you're right. He's one of those rare examples. It wasn't about his physical performance on the field when he left Jacksonville. It was about other issues off the field or locker room stuff.
Right.
So yeah, he definitely still looks like he's got tread on the tires and is a very, very capable.
Yeah, the issue was the fact that the team went from the AFC Championship to 1-15 in 2 years.
Yeah, that was not a good look. Ronald Jones came back and played last week also, and he looked good on the plays that he was playing, but not 100%. You could tell he pulled up a couple times, but it's a quad injury, and they're just saying he can still play, he can still run, but he can't break away run.
Right.
He was before, but he's still going to be in the mix and hopefully a little bit healthier.
Good games, great games for the championship.
I'm very excited about it. Yeah, I'm obviously taking the Bucs against the Packers. Oh, and this is another interesting thing I saw. I don't know if the name means much to you guys, but Vita Vea.
Yes. Did you see that stat line?
What was the stat line?
Defensive tackle, right?
Yeah, he's defensive tackle. So I read a thing that when he's on the field, there's something like the teams that play against the Bucs when Vita Vea is on the field, they average 2-point-something yards a carry. No one has ran for longer than 14 yards, and they've been 18 tackles for loss. So he is an absolute dominant force for the Buccaneers, and he could be playing.
He is playing. They're saying
he is okay.
In. Yeah, he is in. So that I think actually could be really the straw that breaks the Packers back. Like if he plays the way that they're saying he's capable of playing, that could be lights out for the Packers. Like you got a run stopper in the middle, then you can just focus everything, all the coverage.
Does that win you the game though? That's the question. It's not the Saints. You know what I mean? This isn't Alvin Kamara and Drew Brees who can't put the ball down the field. This is the Packers.
It gives you more options though. That's for sure.
For sure. Absolutely. But I think we'll see. I'm very interested.
I just think that the Packers defense doesn't have enough to slow down Brady in that offense the way they're playing right now. I think Rodgers is going to make it interesting, but I think they're going to be playing catch up a lot of the time and maybe ends up making a mistake because that Packers defense can get after him a little.
I'm going to be looking a lot towards what's his name, number 55. Is it Zadarius Smith? What's his name?
Yeah.
The guy.
Yeah.
If he can go off, if he can play, which he shows up quite a lot.
Yeah.
If he comes to play, the Packers will run away with it. If he gets in Brady's face, I think we're going to see, obviously they're going to roll protection against him, but we'll see.
The offensive line for the Bucs has been playing well. I mean,
very good.
Cam Jordan was not doing anything last week. He did not.
Right.
So I think if they keep playing the way that they've been playing, and that's what I'm just banking on, I think it's going to, but I think it'll be a closer game than, I think it'll go right down to the fourth quarter for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Brady and Rodgers. There's going to be a fourth quarter heroics.
But I think I agree with Vital too on this. And Brady's hungrier. He's got a chip, which is crazy after all these years.
Yeah.
But think about how many times he's done it as an underdog. Like he's been a dog in so many games, including Super Bowls, throughout his entire career, and he still plays with that chip. Like he's widely.
I would say this though, every time he's an underdog, he deserves it because he's usually up there. Because right now, I think Rodgers and the Packers are the more talented team. Look at how deep they really are.
I don't know about that. Really? Across the board?
I'm just saying
I
it's
think so.
to me, I just love the idea that like people are still doubting him after all these years. And I know now they're doubting him because he's old and they have another reason to doubt him. But it's like even like there have been so many games where he wasn't supposed to win and found a way to win. And that's just been his MO for the longest time. I mean,
I'm looking up the I'm gonna look up the line for the game tonight.
I'm really curious as to what it is. But yeah, I agree with Vital. I think he wants it more than Rodgers does, which is nuts. Like you'd think he'd had enough, but he just hasn't. And it's like he just wants to prove everybody wrong again.
I agree, man.
I know you don't like to agree, but it's
all right. They're giving Green Bay 3.5.
I told you, I don't want him to win, dude. I don't want it, but I just see it.
Like, see it happening. Yeah. Like,
I see it very. I watched the game already. It's weird.
Let's also not forget that Aaron Rodgers is playing so well at quarterback that a running back ran for 2,000 yards, and we're not even really talking about him for MVP. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Let's not forget. So I just want to read you guys Aaron Rodgers' stat line from this year. He threw for 4,299 yards, which is, good, but not going to blow you off the thing. Yeah. 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, 115 catches, 1,374 yards, 18 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, they were lethal. I also will say this, though.
Aaron Jones there, too?
They haven't really been challenged much, though. Even in, like, the Rams weren't much of the Rams were nothing. They had a first-round bye, cream puff Rams. When was the last time they were challenged outside of the Bucs game? And I know Rodgers was 100%, but have they played really good teams and beaten them? I don't remember a whole lot of really good teams that the Packers were going against. Their division.
All right, so the last 5 games that the Packers have played, they played the Rams and beat them. They played the Bears and beat them. They played Tennessee and beat them 40-14.
That was impressive.
And the Bears are a better team than I think people give them credit for.
The Bears were not that good.
I mean, but you're beating the Tennessee Titans 40-14.
They got
after
up
they beat the
Titans
Bills the same way.
The Titans weren't. I was gonna say the Titans weren't built to come from behind. That's just not who they are, and they got down early in that game. But no, that was a pretty impressive win. It would have been more impressive if the Titans had beaten the Ravens.
I mean, you are right though, Nick. They have not really played. They did beat the Saints early on in the year. They beat the Falcons.
That was the Saints without Breeze, though, wasn't it, when they played them?
It was week 3, so I think Breeze
might
have still been in.
Yeah, I think he was still in. But
yeah, they did have that big loss to Tampa Bay, 38-10.
And they had a soft schedule in general. They really
did have a soft schedule.
Which is, not their fault. They were in a very weak division this year. But I think this Bucs team.
And then they won all 8 of their preseason games. I'm just kidding.
All 8.
8 of them. All right, so I guess we're picking. So Vital, you're sticking with your original Super Bowl picks, which would be very impressive if you hit it.
Seriously, that's cool, man.
Chiefs Bucs. Yeah, that would be really something. I picked the Bucs to get to the Super Bowl and win it, so that's still a very real possibility.
I really need the Packers to win if I don't want a henna tattoo. I really need that. So, Aaron Rodgers, if you're listening,
I'm happy in some way.
Dude, if the Bucs win, you almost can't. I mean, you can still beat me, but you have to sweep everything else.
Is it 2 points? It's 2 points, right? For the Super Bowl teams? Or are we giving, what was it, 5?
2 for each team that gets to the Super Bowl.
And then 5 if they win. 5. You had the Bucs to win?
I had the Bucs to win. So 5 if they win.
I have the Chiefs to win, so he's losing. Don't worry, he's not winning.
Yeah, I won't get to pick your henna tattoo.
I don't care who wins. I don't care. I just don't want a henna tattoo on my belly button. That's what I don't want.
I actually could still come back. If the Bucs win the Super Bowl, I could still be the one who picks the henna tattoo. I could go from first to worst or both. I can go either way, depending on these games. But right now I'm up 1 on you based on last weekend. So we picked our worst QBs. You picked Brady. Which is Lonnie, you picked Brady, which is a pretty good pick. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, it's the 4 best quarterbacks in the league. I have to pick the worst of all 4 of them.
Right. And I took Rodgers mostly just because of that Bucs defense, like we're talking. I think, he might have more trouble than any of the other quarterbacks. The best defense still going, I think, is the Bills, but you can't pick Mahomes. Nobody's ever what are you going to do? Pick Mahomes? No. So that left Vital with Josh Allen, who realistically is probably going to run all over the field.
So fucking 25, 30 points.
He's all
Yeah,
of us.
like the worst quarterback will probably score 28, you know?
Right?
Yeah, if you can get under 30 from your quarterback, that's a win. So this is, I guess this has got to be the last week that we do the worst QB picks, right? Because after this, there's only 2 quarterbacks left. I don't think there's a way.
Right.
So this is it. This is the culmination of the worst QB picks. It's kind of fun that we're picking the worst of the best still, though. I think it's great. Because if you're picking the best of the best, obviously you're going to pick Mahomes. I mean, I would think you would pick Mahomes. That's why he's the
Well, no, because if you're going, you don't know what kind of game they're going to have, man.
You're saying you wouldn't pick Mahomes if you had first pick on the best quarterback this weekend?
If I had first pick on who was going to score the most this weekend, I would have picked Josh Allen. I think points-wise, he's going to have to score more QB points.
So
but I don't think he's going to beat the Chiefs.
But why aren't you?
Does that make sense?
Then why aren't you picking Mahomes? You can pick Mahomes over Allen.
No. Like, I still think it's disrespectful. I don't know how to get that to. I can't do it. Like, I feel like if I do it and then he Mahomes out, I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Because why would you do that?
I mean, you could still pick Mahomes.
No, I don't have it in me to pick Mahomes as the worst QB.
But
that feels crazy saying.
Well, I don't know. You're contradicting yourself a little bit there.
I am, but I'm a human contradiction. Dude.
It is hard. It's hard to. Yeah, the whole point is it's hard to pick. So yeah, that's what we got looking. That's what we were looking at. I hit my last teaser last week. I said I wasn't going to do a teaser, but then I looked at the lines. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a teaser because I liked the lines that I saw. And the 4 teams that I picked all ended up winning outright. So that's it. Done with teasers for the season. Closed out on a high note. Plus,
can you do a 14 teaser now?
Yeah, but do you know how?
Like, what's the payout? Go big, Nick.
Dude, well, yeah, but there's only 4 teams left playing. So basically, you're going to have to say that the game is going to have to be within 13 points either way of both ways of whatever the spread is, because you're picking 2 teams that are playing against each other. I know you get plus 13 on both of them, but you're basically betting that it's going to be a close game, and that's kind of risky. Plus, I think
you got this.
I could see. No, I'm done. That's it. That's over. We're done for the season. We'll pick it up again next year. I'm finishing with a winning season plus $250 on 4-team teasers at $50 per bet, $50 per win minus 75 per loss. So I'll take it. It was a good season. We are going to resume teasers next year. Probably week 3 is usually when I start to do them again. But for anybody, if anybody played along with, that's great. If not, play with me next year. You're going to win some money. And I think that's about all we got for this pre-championship week. It's one of my favorite days of football.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a good one. See what else was there. I think that's it. Don't forget to do your DraftKings also.
I'm going to do it tonight.
Okay, cool. I'll send you guys the pictures because I already set my quarterback DraftKings with a bunch of players that aren't playing again,
okay.
So we can keep track of it a little bit better. Yeah, that's about it. You guys, you doing anything? Are you still up in Virginia, Lonnie? Chilling out? Okay, you'll be back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Me and Vital are on a show tomorrow afternoon. We're doing that. I think we talked about it last week. We're doing the anime convention.
Oh yeah. Good luck.
Did you write some nerd jokes, Vital?
Yeah, it's called his material.
About my IT class.
Wait, what did you say, Vital?
I have so many IT jokes for them.
Perfect. They're gonna love it. I wrote some good stuff. I actually had some stuff that I was like, okay, that can I have a fake girlfriend, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Dude, my girlfriend asked me because I was like, oh, you should come. And she's like, okay, should I wear a hentai shirt? I was like, if you want them to be all over you the whole time, yeah.
Right.
You can do that.
Do you want sweaty nerd on you? Is that
and I'm not gonna stop them. She thinks I'm supposed to protect her because I'm big and black. I let guys touch her all the time. I was like, that's what you get.
Fantastic.
My body looks to be crazy.
Yeah, we just found out something about Vital's relationship dynamic, I think.
I'm going to get a front row seat of that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about it. We're going to have a good time, though. A bunch of other
Feel
guys.
free to touch Vital's girlfriend as much as you want, Nick, apparently.
But she punches. I once saw her punch a dude at a party for grabbing her butt. Just so you know.
So in that case, I'm going to tell other guys to go touch Vital's girlfriend and then
Oof, oof.
how that goes. I'll tell Charlie to walk into her waist level.
It's a show.
So yeah, we got that this weekend. That should be fun. And then next Tuesday, Kava Bar, the open mic. Oh, and before, actually, we're not going to do another episode for a couple weeks. So what else do you have? You have Miami Improv coming up, Vital?
Oh yeah, I've got the Miami Improv. Next Thursday. Yeah, next Wednesday. Sorry, next Wednesday, 27th.
Is that New Faces, Vital?
What was that?
Is that New Faces?
Yeah, New Faces.
Nice. I'm also doing a show next Wednesday, 27th. I'm headlining at Gadsby's, the little showcase that she does there. So that'll be really fun. It's a small show. It's like only like the showcase part is like an hour long, but it's just me, or it's Charlie and Danny Fallon opening up or whatever, doing feature spots, and then I get to headline. I get to do like 20-25 minutes, so it should be a good,
nice.
fun
It's a good
show.
deal.
Yeah, close to home, so I'm going to try to get some of my neighbors to come. Try to get that place packed out on a Wednesday night.
Good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun.
You guys.
Yeah, I don't know what else is. Yeah, that's about it.
Wait, when are we going to be back next? I don't know if I have. I think I got a roast battle at Shipwreckers. You know what? Just go to my Instagram, Vital. Check out my shows.
I forgot about the roast battle at Shipwreckers. You're doing that on the 31st, which is Sunday. And that same night, I'm actually going to Cape Coral for a show, Ollie's Follies, which is hosted by Rab Russell, me.
Ooh.
Gold Coast Comedy Tour. Riley and Connie are coming with me. We're going to go do that with some other comics too. It's a nice long show. They usually do a bunch of like, I don't know, they do like 5 or 6 comics. Everybody doing like feature sets, which is a lot of fun.
Nice.
So yeah, that'll be great. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks. You want to shoot for 2, like, do you guys want to do it on the Super Bowl? Should we do a podcast on the Super Bowl?
Sure, that should be fine for me.
Super Bowl Sunday?
I can do it, yeah.
Game doesn't start till 6, right? We can do something around 3-ish, maybe something like that.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. Well,
All right, guys.
Take care up there. Let us know when you get back.
I will.
Back before the Super Bowl. We'll see you Super Bowl Sunday. And Vital, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Have fun.
Have a great night, guys.